Yeah, Aussie's been probably battling, the loss of his father for a long period of time. Obviously, as a club, we went up. I was certainly there for the 3 or 4 days during his funeral, and it was a very traumatic time for Oz. And obviously, then soon after that, with the loss of Maurice Rioli, who's another legend, if you like, from the Tiwi Islands, and he's been battling he feels he's a little bit disconnected from his culture and his people, and he's been working hard since then to remain here, train hard. He spent a week at my place, and we went for two, or it might have been 3 or 4 walks in the evening, and he was really working hard to stay and play as a Melbourne footballer. He's just got to a stage now where he feels like he needs to go home, so there's a little bit of homesickness about it as well. But and we've decided as a footy club that he's had a real crack at trying to get over some of these, the trauma that he's had, and we think going home for a period of time, and I think hopefully it'll be a short period of time with Oz, that he can reconnect and feel he's part of his culture, and he's a very proud Tiwi Island person, and we think he'll be back fairly soon rather than later. So with all those feelings about Oz and the trauma he's going through now, we felt that it was a good time for him to go back, regroup, and then come back and play some good footy for us.
So did he request the time off, or did you recommend it as a way to clear his head?
Oh no, we've been talking about it for a while now, and it just came to a head recently where he just feels that the time's right for him to go back home for a short period of time. So we've always been discussing a lot of issues with Oz, this being one of them, and Ian Flux worked closely with him, and we dialogue with him often. So he just felt that now he felt that he couldn't commit totally to the club at the moment. He's going to go home, and I'm sure he'll be back better than ever.
You touched upon it, Dean. Just tell us a bit about your personal relationship with him. Obviously, you're pretty close.
Oh look, Ozzy's just a fantastic bloke. He's got an enormous amount of respect, and people want the best for him. He's an energetic player, and he brings something special to the game. And part of being a coach is trying to help players through some difficult times in their life. And I spoke with Oz about coming and spending a week at my place, and got to know my kids well, and the players were taking the mickey out of him, to be honest. You're at home with a coach, so things are looking good for you. But look, he's just a very likeable young man, and everyone would love to see him back playing for Melbourne as soon as he can. But these issues with Oz are they've been there for a while, and to be fair to Ozzy, he's battled through them. Like he's faced them and wanted to overcome them, and it's got to a stage now where the best thing for him as a person is to go back and his words were to reconnect with the Tiwi culture. But I'm sure that knowing Ozzy as well as I do, I'm sure he'll be back playing.
So a short period of time, so a few weeks?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. But again, hopefully it's shorter than that. But we think that, and we'll keep in contact with Oz and make sure he's well looked after, and he's still training and all that sort of stuff, which which he'll do anyway. But no, it's disappointing, but it's also very understanding. You've got to understand that there's 46 players in each club, and they all face different traumas or different challenges during their life, and his is a little bit different. However, the trauma that he's gone through has been fairly significant, and obviously the importance of his father as well, and obviously his culture is really important to him, and this is his opportunity to go back and reconnect.
Bruise-free footy. You insulted?
I think our club is very insulted by it. I don't think we don't play bruise-free footy, and it's an insult to the club, it's an insult to all our players, and it's an insult to our supporters, and I think it's very disappointing that a player can come out and have that sort of an opinion, because we don't play bruise-free footy. Our contested possession, even though it wasn't great against Carlton, was very good the week before against the Saints. So, long memories.
And cheating, Dean, was that a bit over the top for Mick Malthouse?
Oh, absolutely, it was over the top. I mean, we've got a young man who's played probably less than 20 games, and for someone like Mick in the position that he holds, for him to, very quickly jump down the throat of a young man and call him that is inappropriate, and for someone who's been in the game a long period of time, I don't think it's appropriate, and I think that's also very offensive as well.
Would you pick up the phone and have a chat to Mick and say, pull your head in, or is it just keep it through the media, or how would you deal with that from a club's perspective? Oh, well, Mick's made the comment, so it's public. I've just made my response. So there it sits.
Just back to the bruise-free footy, Brett Rattner was saying this morning, it was more in reference to his own team playing bruise-free footy in the first half. But obviously,
so he's been misquoted, has he, Jules? Is that right? He's been misinterpreted?
Well, his claim is that's what he was saying.
Yeah, well,
but you haven't read it like that.
Well, that's not how we've read it, no.
There's also been some talk this week that coaching's becoming a bit of a blood sport through the media, sort of becoming a bit of everyone's watching on and sort of almost hoping that it happens. What do you make of that?
I think you are, aren't you?
Well, I'm not. But
aren't you? Well, I'll just talk to you then. No one else said that, did they? They're all obviously agreeing. Oh, look, the situation that the coaches find themselves in is you come into this job eyes wide open and you're under scrutiny every single week. So, as far as I'm aware, there is radio space you've got to fill, there are column inches you've got to fill, and we're all employed in the one industry. And at times, coaches and players, but particularly coaches, get under the scrutiny. So, that's just the nature of the business, to be honest.
Dermot Burton has also accused you of playing bruise-free footy, which is a nice way of saying that the team's soft, I suppose. So it's a bit of a perception out there in footy world that you totally reject, do you?
Absolutely, I totally reject it, yeah. Go and turn the Adelaide game on.
Were you soft the other night, though?
No, I think we had some instances during the game where we were hard and tough at the footy, yeah.
So is the footy, I mean, you're copying it, the players are copying it. Do you think the footy club at the moment is a bit of an easy target?
Oh, I think we're in a tough situation at the moment with where we're at with our player depth being tested and a poor game last week Friday night. So the scrutiny comes on all of us, and every part of the game gets scrutinised, and people keep finding an angle to talk or write about and comments made. So, as I said, every week you get scrutinised, and this is no different. We need to play better footy on Friday night because Friday night's a big stage for us, and we need to improve our output, we need to improve our contested possession, but we need to also improve our effort, which is what Melbourne people want to see.
the defensive game style was criticised in some parts of the media last Friday night, Dean. Could we see a more attacking mode of football this Friday night in light of that criticism?
Yeah, I found that an interesting discussion because we had Jack Watts behind the ball for a short period of time, and then we had our ruckman running forward, which is an attacking move. So that was the reason for it. Carlton were a very good centre bounce team, so we didn't want to have centre bounce goals scored against us. We played the free at times, but we also killed the free as well. And there were times when both clubs had a drop off at stoppage. So when you drop off at stoppage, most clubs do it. But we didn't have the free for the whole period of the game, and we tried to play attacking footy to win and score. So that's what happened in the game.
Of the 10 who've been missing, how many will we get back this week?
Obviously, Trengove, because he's finished his long suspension over a tackle, which we've seen a lot of tackling going on in the last few weeks as well. The intent of the tackle, I think most of you have seen a lot of the tackles that have gone on, and I'm not sure whether any of them are too different than what Jack had put through.
Still miffed?
Well, if you only keep looking at the games that have been played, and there's a few instances where blokes have been slung in tackles, but that they seem to have been either forgotten, mainly because the person who's been tackled either hasn't received a concussion or anything. I'm just wondering whether there's any player at the moment who's been tackled during the game and missed the following week due to a tackle.
What did you think when Dangerfield played the next week and kicked 6?
It was a good effort to come back and kick 6. Like, he's a very good player.
Is there extra added incentive next time you play the Blues now in light of what's happened?
Oh, I would think so, yeah. I think you could write that.
What's the players' immediate reaction been?
Oh, no, they're disappointed that they're being described that way, like any player would, like any footballer at any club would.
But does that galvanise them, do you think?
Probably, yeah. Probably galvanises them more. Yeah.
What about the criticism that you're struggling to stop opposition run-ons this year? We've seen it with the Hawthorn game, the North Melbourne game, the dramatic turnarounds in games. Has that been a fair criticism?
Oh, I think when momentum's been against us, teams have been able to kick 2 or 3 quick goals against us, yeah. And we've certainly employed man-on-man, and we've also employed someone behind the ball to try and kill it. And generally it's the source we try and stop. So if it's at a stoppage, we try and man up more, we try and hit defensively. So we're certainly trying those things in games.
Tom Scully got through pretty well. Is there any chance you can bring him back this week, or does he need more time down at VFL level? Oh,
I think Tommy got through the game pretty well. We got a main training session tomorrow, so it's really going to depend on how he gets through the main session. Often your first game, you're when you've been out for a period of time, you're normally pretty fresh when you play. It's normally the 2 days afterwards that determines whether you're sore or not. So at the moment he seems to be he's walking around okay, and he had a nice little brief run this morning. So if he can get through training tomorrow, then that'll be a better sign.
Dean, how do you combat the Hill rider, Bill Chambers, that trio that they seem to be using all the time?
Yeah, I think it was interesting in the Richmond game where they were able to, spoil the ball, particularly in their defensive, their back six. The Tigers were able to really spoil the ball and run the ball off the spoil, bring it to ground and try and run them. In the ruck, though, I mean, Hill's a very, very good ruckman as well. So, the three tools are going to be a challenge for us. But everything about playing in the forward line is about the delivery that they get. And if we don't apply enough pressure through the middle of the ground, then they'll get good delivery. But if we can apply enough pressure, which we should be able to, then it gives our backs the chance to, one, defend and two, to attack. So, that midfield pressure that, we've got to slow them down and get them kicking wide and all those sort of things which are all seen in the game.
Is Max Gorman a possibility?
Yeah, Max played well on the weekend, so that's probably him ringing now. Which is good. Oh, look, he played well on the weekend, Maxi, and again, selections later in the week. But he's in good form, the big bloke. So he'll be certainly seriously considered, I think.
And apart from Trengove and maybe Scully, anyone else?
Lyndon Dunn back available to get selected. So we'll certainly make some changes this week.